Shane turns on The Miz, Vince screws Kofi over once again, and Ronda ensures that the triple threat match is going to take place at WrestleMania. This is scaled, and we're looking at Fastlane. First up, I gotta throw a mention out there about EC3 being buried even deeper than he already is in a backstage segment with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. This did happen on the kickoff show, and I'm not giving a rating of any kind. I just wanted to mention it because this is just pathetic how they're treating EC3 since his main roster debut. On to the only match that happened on the kickoff show, which was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio and Andrade, but that got pushed up to the main card into a Fatal 4-Way United States Championship match, which I am very thrilled about because Rey Mysterio and Andrade put on a hell of a show, whether it be one-on-one, triple threat, Fatal 4-Way, they've all been phenomenal. In their place on the kickoff show, Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura take on The New Day. Prior to the match, Kofi was invited to the McMahon's office backstage, where it was heavily hinted that he would be placed in the WWE Championship match. We wouldn't see what happened here until later on in the show though. This was a pretty good match. I'm going to give it a 7. The only thing I'm really disappointed about here is how Shinsuke and Rusev are just so underutilized at this point. I know we've been talking about this for over a year now with Rusev, but now Shinsuke is in this spot. At this point, the only way I can see Rusev and Shinsuke being on the WrestleMania card is if they're in the SmackDown Tag Team title match against the Usos. Kicking us off on the main card of Fastlane, we have The Miz and Shane McMahon taking on the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. I'm giving this match an 8. Miz and Shane do have really good chemistry here, and Shane actually puts on a pretty decent performance. At one point, Miz even dives off of the top turnbuckle to the outside, something we very rarely ever see from The Miz. The highlight of the match was definitely the coast-to-coast interception that Shane McMahon made, taking one of the Usos out in midair. The Miz hit a frog splash that would have looked great if he had landed it. Unfortunately, this was the end of the match, however, and Uso got his knees up and rolled up Miz for the pin. Afterwards, Shane McMahon just clobbers The Miz out at ringside in front of The Miz's father. This actually was a pretty good heel turn. I didn't actually see this happening until this Tuesday on SmackDown Live. Next up, we get a backstage promo of Corbin, McIntyre, and Lashley doing their version of an old school Shield promo, which was actually pretty well done. I'm combining this with Elias's first performance of the night and giving these two segments a 6. After this, we have Mandy Rose challenging Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is going to get a 5. This actually turned out a little bit better than I thought it was going to. I liked how Sonya was at fault for Mandy losing, and this was a bit of a unique ending for Mandy to quote-unquote trip over the ring apron, which would lead to Asuka hitting her finisher and scoring the 1-2-3. Backstage, Big E and Xavier Woods find out that Kofi has been waiting outside the McMahon's office for over an hour. So they end up pounding on the door and just walking in the office, where Vince McMahon pretends to have been waiting for Kofi the entire time. Xavier and Big E both vow for Kofi, telling Vince that Kofi deserves his WWE Championship match. So Vince says that the WWE Championship match is going to be a triple threat, and tells Kofi to get ready for his match because it's next. Once Kofi comes out to the ring, we find out that he is actually going to be in a handicap match against The Bar. I mean, this is obviously to help build Kofi up even further as Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania opponent. This particular match, however, and segment, I'm giving a 4 because this basically was just a squash match. Even though Big E and Xavier Woods were supposed to be banned from ringside, they did come out at one point, but they were only attacked by Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura from behind, allowing Sheamus and Cesaro to annihilate Kofi and just put him away easily. Up next, Sasha and Bayley cut a promo backstage, and Elias gives another performance, giving this segment a 5.5. Next up, we have the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Ricochet and Aleister Black versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus The Revival. This is going to get an 8. It was a great match, great action, great chemistry all around. After that, we get quite possibly the match of the night with the Fatal 4-Way United States Championship match. R-Truth versus Rey Mysterio versus Andrade versus Samoa Joe. Giving this a 9, there was some insane action going on here. This may have not been quite as good as their match this past Tuesday on SmackDown, but it's pretty close. Once again, the right guy won. Samoa Joe walking out the champ. We had the Women's Tag Team Championships after that, with Sasha and Bayley retaining the gold against Nia Jax and Tamina. Giving this a 6.5 because A, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be due to Nia and Tamina being in this match. And then afterwards, with Beth Phoenix Phoenix on commentary, she actually gets in Tamina's face and takes out Tamina, but then Nia immediately takes out Beth. Is this leading to a match between Beth versus Nia? Tag team match? Are we going to see Beth Phoenix at WrestleMania? Or maybe this is just going to be a multi-team match for the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. I would love to see Beth Phoenix in the ring again. She is without a doubt one of my favorite women wrestlers to ever step in the ring. Time for the WWE Championship match, which actually is a triple threat featuring Daniel Bryan defending the title against Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. Why? Oh, why does Mustafa Ali get a championship match here? This is going to get an 8 because this was a very entertaining match. But as soon as Ali's music hit, people were instantly pissed off. Not because of it being Mustafa Ali, but just because it wasn't Kofi Kingston. This is very similar to what happened in the 2014 Royal Rumble when Rey Mysterio came out at number 30, but was completely booed out of the building. Not because it was Rey Mysterio, but because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. Same thing here. Mustafa Ali, a few weeks ago, he may have had people behind him and cheering for him and all that. But then Mustafa Ali got injured and Kofi Kingston was put in his place, who people immediately felt that he deserved it. Putting on great performances in the gauntlet match lasting over an hour, and then in the Elimination Chamber, people really got behind Kofi. Throughout this entire match, the fans were chanting for Kofi. And what's even more amazing is that this is being acknowledged on commentary. Obviously, this is just all to set up Kofi as Daniel Bryan's opponent at WrestleMania. I love Daniel Bryan as the WWE champion. He is a great champion, and he is a great heel champion at that. However, this does feel like Kofi's time. I can totally see Kofi being the guy to take the championship from Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. In this next matchup, we got Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Giving this a 7.5, not so much because of the action and athleticism that was taking place in the ring, because on Becky's part there wasn't that much. She was doing an incredible job selling her knee injury, but this match was more about telling a story, and these two women told this story beautifully. I absolutely love how Ronda came out with just a quick punch to the chest of Becky that signaled for the disqualification. Prior to the main event, we have another performance by Elias. Amazingly, he didn't get interrupted in his first two performances of the night, but in this one he did. First up by Lacey Evans, who keeps doing what she does, and then from out of nowhere, an RKO. Well, after that RKO, Randy got a phenomenal forearm to the face, because earlier on the kickoff show, AJ Styles said, "I'm going to deal with Randy when it's time to deal with Randy." Clearly, this was the time to deal with Randy. And this match happening at WrestleMania, I can't wait for it. Giving this a 7, I'm absolutely loving the build up to Randy Orton versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. In the main event, we have The Shield versus Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. This is going to get a 9 for a 6-man tag team match in the main event. This had to be something special, and it was. It was absolutely amazing to see all 6 of these guys just putting it all out there and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I was expecting Dean to make another heel turn here. Maybe Ambrose really is on his way out of the company. And if that's the case, this is definitely how his tenure should end. I gotta throw this out there just because I was a little bit curious. If Ambrose does leave, I'm questioning if he's going to go over to New Japan for a little bit and join the Bullet Club, quite simply for the gesture that he made right before the end of the main event. This to me was a sign that he might be joining the Bullet Club. Now this is just speculation on my part. It's possible Ambrose isn't even leaving the company. However, it'd be really cool if this is what happened. Overall, Fastlane's going to get a 6.96, guys. This was a great show leading into WrestleMania. I only hope that WrestleMania is better this year than it was last year. Thanks for listening, y'all, and stay tuned for my next episode of Scaled, which is going to be on Monday Night Raw. Have a great day, and check out some of my other videos here on YouTube. Give me a like and a subscribe. I got a lot more coming, guys. Stay tuned.